And that's what we're making, folks. G'day guys, Tom from Smoky Pastures Barbecue here, and today we're going to be cooking steak fajitas. So stay tuned for a really tasty treat. The beef that we're using today in particular is a cut that's called flank steak. So as you can see, it's sort of a wide and flat cut of meat with these long muscle fibers running the full length of the cut. So what we're going to have to do, it's quite a lean cut, not a whole lot of intramuscular fat. I've trimmed most of the silver skin off of it here, but to get this nice and tender and to go really nice in these fajitas is we're going to marinate it, which is going to cause a chemical breakdown of those muscle fibers due to the acidity in the marinade, and then we're going to make sure that after we've grilled it, we cut our slices of steak across the grain, which is further going to manually tenderize it by breaking those muscle fibers up so it's a nice pleasant mouthfeel when we actually take a bite of the steak. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I bag this up and put it in the marinade. Alright guys, so first step is make sure that you've got a bag that's big enough to fit the piece of meat. Now this is a super simple marinade. The key ingredients are going to be the juice of 2 limes, and then we've also got half a diced red onion. It's just chopped into onion slices. I'm going to save the other half to have fresh when we actually assemble our tacos, and then we've got a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce here for a bit of flavour and to further help that tenderization factor. So it's as simple as opening up our snap lock bag, getting our piece of steak, and I like to try and get it in there down the bottom of the bag. Like so. So first step, get our onion, sprinkle that on top, just smooth it around so hopefully as much of the onion is sort of touching the steak as possible. Then keeping the top end of this bag upright so the liquid doesn't leak out, we're going to pour on our soy sauce, and then we're going to pour on our lime juice. Now don't squeeze all the air out yet, just give it a bit of a gentle seal, and then we're just going to roll this around and try and get as much of that liquid to cover as much of the steak as possible. Once we've done that, we can sort of fold it up, just crack open that bag slightly again, and now continue folding it up to squeeze the air out of the bag. I'll just tuck that back under there. Now, if we leave this exposed to the acid from that fruit juice for too long, it's actually going to make the meat go tough and partially cook it. So we only want to have this in the fridge for anywhere from 2 to about 4 to 6 hours, I guess, but not much longer than that. This isn't a marinade where you want to do it overnight, you want to do it on the same day. Anyway, I'm going to pop this in the fridge for a couple of hours and I'll come back and show you a little trick on the grill. Alright guys, time to do some cooking. It's bloody hot. So like I said earlier, we're cooking this hot and fast, and our fajitas want to have a little bit of grilled capsicum as one of the ingredients. So what we're doing is chucking these straight on the coals, and we're just looking to blister up the outside of those. Take about maybe 40 seconds to a minute each side, and we sort of want to wait until they're nearly all black. So I'll come back and show you what we're looking at once I've done a few sides. So we're getting there. Skin's looking nice and blistered. A little bit more to go. And then we're just going to chuck them straight into a plastic snap lock bag. Let them sweat for about 20 minutes while we cook this steak and wait for it to rest. Then we're going to peel that charred skin off, remove all the bitterness, and end up with some nice sweet cooked capsicum. Okay, so we've taken our steak out of the marinade. Brushed everything off, given it a bit of a pat dry, seasoned it up with a little bit of Smoky Pastures Risket, and then it's just a matter of straight onto the grill. And then while it's on there, just take this opportunity, season the other side. Now, going to cook this roughly about a minute each side, and cook it until about 135 internal temperature, 135 Fahrenheit, then take it off and rest it for about 10 minutes. Okay, so we're coming up to about the 4-minute mark. See how we're going. That thicker part, still a little bit to go. Thinner parts, pretty much right where we're at. That'll lift up a little bit more towards medium as we get towards the end of the rest period. So I'm going to take this off now. Let's just have a look at this other side, see how that's doing. Beautiful. Okay, so our steak's resting, and we've got our capsicum here. It's been in these in this snap lock bag. So time to fish these suckers out. Now they are pretty hot, so I'm just going to be careful, and there is a fair bit of steam that comes off them when you do cut them open. So I usually just cut the end off like that, and cut the end off like that. Now the next thing to do is to usually just cut them like this, so you can scrape out any of the seeds. This is one of those random seedless capsicum varieties here. Maybe the red one will be a little bit more conventional. There we go. So we can just work on cutting the membrane and the seeds, scraping that all out. Now the idea is, you can see we've blistered up that flesh, and that should pretty much just scrape off like that. Don't worry about washing it. A little bit of char flavour is going to be an awesome little addition to this dish. So I'm just going to finish cleaning these up. So our steak has been resting. Time to slice into it, see how we done. You want to slice nice and thin, so you end up with something like that. Nice, juicy, tender. Just pulls apart. Tastes spectacular. That's going to make some really nice fajitas. Alright guys, so this is looking sensational. Fajitas kind of really describes the whole dish, and putting it together and having it as a bit of a plate to assemble for yourself. So as opposed to a taco where it's usually pre-built. So I like to make this specific recipe today. A little bit of sour cream. Instead of cheese, just going sour cream. I like it. I like the creamy texture to get that sort of milky flavour. Let's start off with a little bit of this grilled capsicum. Put in a little bit of this fresh diced red onion, and then a couple of good bits of steak. So there you go. You can load it up more if you want, or less, doesn't really matter. That's beautiful. You don't really notice the onion. If you're a bit worried that red onion's going to be overpowering, it just adds a little bit of tang, zest and crunch. That's fantastic. I could smash about 1 million of these in a sitting, I reckon. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give flank steak a go. This 5 Founders beef, just amazing quality stuff. Really good value for money. You get a couple of pieces in one packet, so easily feed a big family. Hope you enjoyed the recipe anyway. Let us know if you did. Cheers.